All right, I've been out of town since Sunday now, and here I am at the Colorado Rivers Resort. This is the old motorhome here that actually saved us from being homeless at one point through the recession when we lost our house and our business. But this is actually, we were lucky to have the motorhome and to have a resort out here that we had paid off into. And this is what I'm talking about having more places like this for actually the homeless out there, opening more spaces. It's not, I mean, when you open just a space and put electricity like this and in the sewer line, okay, how much could that be? I mean, I don't think it's much to put that on, you know, but that's cheaper than building a whole building, right? And a lot of these people actually would prefer something like this, you know, like I did. We lived in our motorhome for about 2.5 years before we got back on our feet. But you know, if it wasn't for the motorhome and a place like this here that we bought into, actually we wouldn't have made it out fine. I mean, it's hard enough. I mean, you know, after 2 years that we were here, we wanted, you know, hey, we need an apartment or a house or something. So anyways, but yeah, this puppy here has only 63,000 miles, an 1982 Toyota. But I'm not selling this puppy. Actually, I'm getting it checked because I might just need to get away sometimes. I noticed that when you get away, time actually slows down than when you're in the city. So like I'll be back again today in the city. So aloha. I wish I was in Hawaii, but I'm not. Maybe one of these days. But just resting out here. Peace, love. Well, we will keep pushing that alfresco gardens out there. The city could just open, or the county could open those open spots out there and create camping areas, temporary camping areas while people get back on their feet and you know, within a year or so. I mean, it makes common sense than leaving a lot of people out in the streets and the parks and ditches and everywhere, where it has created more health hazard. More people are dying. The more you're out there, you know, it's harder for a person to get back on their feet, because you start losing mind a lot of the times, you know. And it's not easy to be out there in the streets because of the camping and storage ordinance. That, I mean, I cannot comprehend that, you know, you keep something in place that has made things worse. Not any better, worse. Because when people get oppressed, they get depressed. And you know what they say, when you're depressed, you start having mental issues, okay, where you can't concentrate and lose it. And this is what's happening to our nation now. It's you know, they say camping, opening up camping grounds would create mayhem. Hello, there's structure, rules and regulations on a place like this. There is no rules or regulations when you're out there on the street. So we already have mayhem out there. So unless we open camping grounds like this here has structure. It's got rules and regulations. It's got a kitchen. It's got bathrooms, showers. If you don't want to, if you don't have a motorhome, if you just want to camp out here, but it's feasible. That like I said, how much could it cost? And it's not enabling them because a lot of people could pay up to $150 a month, let's say, for a space where they could just leave their stuff without any hassles. They do have security here, and they do have maintenance, and they do, so it does have upkeep, and that's the reason why you can't, you let the people buy into it too, but it's just a place to get back on your feet, because we did. If it wasn't for this here and our motorhome, we would have gone nuts. We wouldn't have been able to make it to get back on our feet, to start thinking straight of doing what we're doing now. It's harder when you're out there. It's harder when you get oppressed, and then it's harder when people go around saying crap when they don't even know you. It's bullshit. Sorry to say that, but it is. A lot of people are not well informed. We had a recession in 2008. You hit into a depression, but our government's not going to tell you that. Our mainstream media is not going to tell you that. But us, the most small business owners, and that bought a house, that we were kind of making it, in a sense, when the banks came and just stole our houses, created interest rates to go up 35% when you were paying 10% on your small business. When you have a small business, there's a lot of money you have to put into it, and sometimes it comes borrowing it. But when you're paying your monthly dues, and then all of a sudden in 2008 they started retracting and putting it to 30%, 35%, we were paying a big chunk of that we couldn't afford. So in essence, we were able to afford what we could, and we could have gotten through. But it happened all across when we started checking that it wasn't just us that we were getting that. And then the house foreclosure just came out and just destroyed the bubble. So when the bubble burst, everybody lost their equity. A lot of people lost their jobs, their businesses, even a lot of people lost a lot during that time, and it was hard for a lot of people. And many couldn't make it back, so they went homeless. So after a while being homeless, you get to the point where you start losing hope, and start losing your mind and not think right of how to get out of the situation. A lot of people actually make a lot of bad choices, drinking and getting into drugs, because that's a deeper hole you get into yourself too after you get addicted. Many of the people out there that are into drugs, addicted to drugs, is because of pharmaceutical companies that they gave you all these prescription drugs, and they went so high that it was easier to actually buy drugs out in the street, and then that gets you addicted. There's no difference with prescription drugs and the drugs in the street. Some of the prescription drugs, you realize how much side effects you have, plus addiction to it. And they have heroin on them, like Oxycontin or other drugs that they give you. But when you can't get them, you'll start doing heroin, and that's the the thing that people don't understand, that the drug problem is an addiction problem, and when people can't get back on their feet, they keep on that. So anyways, we'll keep advocating for camping grounds at the Board of Supervisors and Anaheim City Council. I mean, even though they're being left alone at the riverbed, it's still not an ideal place because there's no structure there, there's no rules, regulations, there's no bathrooms or showers. So actually, it's even though they're, you know, they're actually keeping it clean. There are those few that are, you know, just trashy, but that's unacceptable in a place like this. Okay, so people have to clean up or ship out. But anyways, Tuesday is the Anaheim Council meeting, and I believe the Board of Supervisors meeting. So we'll be there, and hopefully we get more and more people involved, because people need to get involved, because our city officials, county officials are just dragging while the homeless population keeps growing, and people keep dying, and it's getting worse out there if we don't do something other than criminalize homelessness. So this is Luno, People's Media.